Hi, this is Margo. This is Sunday evening, September the 12th, 2021. I hope everyone is safe and doing as well as possible. We made it through another week, and that's a great accomplishment as we're heading deeper and deeper into these end times, and we will see more and more changes going on, collapse and everything that's going on. And I'd like to welcome everyone to the show today. This will be my weekly methane and sea ice update that I will be putting on YouTube. And if you'd like to see updates during the week, I welcome you to join us over on my Subscribestar channel or the page, and the link is in the description box below. We'd love to have you over there. And I'm going to start off with today. I'm going to change it up a little bit. First of all, the NOAA data on methane has been incomplete this week. Here we are for Saturday the 11th, and see no image. This is for the METOP2 satellite. There's the morning, here's the afternoon. No data, and it's been like that for several days, and so we can't, I just put for this week data incomplete, so we don't know where we stand with methane. I'll show you what happened so far this what I was able to get. So last week in my show we were at 19.25 parts per billion. It had gone down just a little bit. So here we were in the show last week. That was for Saturday. And then on Sunday it jumped up 2.25 parts per billion. It made a leap up to 1921.5, and then on Monday it went up again to 1922, showing an increase by Monday of 2.75 parts per billion. And then we started in, so this was Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So Tuesday, starting on Tuesday, the data was weird. Just, it was incomplete. It wasn't enough to get any good average or reading. And then for the last 3 days, there's been no METOP2 data. So, but I'll show you for today what we've got on NOAA for the 477/469 millibar reading METOP-B, aka METOP-1 satellite in the morning on the 11th. It's showing 1933 parts per billion as the mean. And see, we've got lots of pinks throughout this northern hemisphere, and also pinks are creeping in throughout a lot of the southern hemisphere. The high reading was at 2372. In the afternoon, the mean was 1931, and the high reading was 2405. And so, so the average was 1932, but it was just for that satellite, and the same thing. So for 3 days, so on the 9th, it was 29.5 for that METOP-1 satellite, and then on the 10th it went up to 1931. on the 11th it went up to 1932. So the trend is upward. We just don't know how much it's gone up. So I didn't even put anything over here. Now, well, we'll go ahead and do the CAMS data. I'm wanting to show the Hurricane Larry where it hit Greenland, but we'll go ahead and finish up with methane first and then go over to that. So here we are for the 11th, for Saturday, on CAMS, Copernicus Atmosphere Monitoring Services, and Arctic View and Surface Level. And okay, there's our color ledger. And why are we having no data from the MET-OP2 satellite for 4 days? Is it being calibrated? Was it knocked out because of a solar flare? I don't know. I have no inside information on this. I'm just a citizen researcher, and share what I get with you guys. And but what we're looking at here is really high methane coming up from here in northern Russia, Siberia. Look at it. It's coming out through the Laptev Sea in the red and orange. Then that wave moves out over the East Siberian Sea and over eastern Siberia. So it looks to me like we've got a methane on the rise, and see these background colors are so high. It's not that dark green anymore, or even blue. It's going up into the yellows and the oranges as the background colors. We still have billowing around Komsomolets here, that little island. And see the green and the waves moving out. So this has been going on all week, this green turning around from the Kara Sea down over the Barents Sea. Alaska, we've been seeing higher readings in the interior. We were seeing Iceland pop off this week. Here's our problem spot in the North Atlantic. We've got waves moving off of the North America here. We earlier this week we saw a black blob come up from Europe and Germany, up through the North Sea. The whole North Sea was just filled with a big black blob of methane. We're still seeing the Scandinavian area filling up. So I think this is a very unfortunate time for NOAA to have their satellites go down. We are tracking the sea ice. The minimum extent in the Arctic usually is reached around the middle of September every year. So it's unfortunate that we can't really have a good handle on what methane is doing, especially with the sea ice this year. But we'll do the best we can. Here's the North Pole view, so we can see pretty much the whole northern hemisphere here. we're still seeing the big blob, mainly Germany and a little bit further south. See that right there. UK, Ireland, it's bad. Here's the Persian Gulf. That seems to be going down a little bit. Here's India. Here's China. See, it's filling up. There's Korea, Japan. And here in North America, we've got areas with the blobs of methane. I call them the blobs. It's the high readings. So the data is for Saturday. The forecast period runs Sunday through Wednesday. Now we'll go down to the Antarctic view. We're still seeing methane come up around the coastlines here. And we're able to make out the outline of the continent because this background color is at 1820 parts per billion, which is this lighter blue, so we can make out the line, you know, for the continent. Oh, and wait until you see the ozone hole. It fills, it's expanded. It takes up the whole continent now, and it's all in the danger zone. So here's north, south. This is the Ross Ice Shelf down here, Ross Sea. East on the right, here's the Amory Ice Shelf. And west, with this western peninsula, this is the Weddell Sea area. And Weddell Sea here, the ice shelf is down here. We're seeing it pop up here on the Larsen Ice Shelf. This is about the Larsen B. It's still popping up here along the Brunt Ice Shelf. See, and then it's popping up sporadically around this northern coast. It's right down here on this little elbow next to it. This is Pine Island Glacier inside there. I don't know the name of this area. I need to learn some more geography. It's also popping up on this southern part. See that? See where it goes a little bit lighter? That's a pop off. And the sun is coming up down here, and you'll see when we look at NASA Worldview, we're starting to see a dark area in the middle of the North Pole. Okay, here's the global view now. So I wanted to point out again, so by Monday it was at 1922. Now that's another high, and so that was above the 1920 line. So we know it was 1922 on the 6th, and that was the highest so far. Okay, so see, it's streaming off of South America. Here's Australia. Here's New Zealand down here. The big activity is up here. We've got big activity in North America too. Look, on this west coast. But I'm looking from this UK and Germany area all the way across. Look at this Norwegian area. And then this over Russia. Look at that. We haven't seen it stream out in the red like that in a long time. Okay, now we'll look at 500 HPA. This is about halfway up in the atmosphere, about the same level as what we're tracking on NOAA. Look at this dark right up here. This is Russia, and this is that Lattev Sea. Here's India, swoops down to Africa, and we've got reds across. And then total column. So we can see these reds spread out a long way from Africa all the way past Japan into the Pacific. So let's go through the rest of these. Here's sulfur dioxide today, and yesterday we had a new high reading here just below Australia. We're not seeing any earthquakes yet to relate to that, and here it is at 500 HPA. And it does register pretty good, and it's kind of in a curved exclamation point. So I think it is could be earthquake related or plate movement related. If we don't see an earthquake down here soon, it could just be the plate movement and pocket of sulfur dioxide got released. That's the most interesting thing I'm seeing today. Here's the ozone. This is the North Pole. Look how thin it is all the way across. It's getting thinner. See the greens. Here's the global view. Did I forget to get the Antarctic? Here, I'll show you on the website. I know I saved it. I forgot to move it over to the folder. And here was yesterday. Look at this. See, the whole continent is now in the danger zone. This black line denotes when it goes into this kind of purpley blue color, it's between 200 and 220 Dobson units is how ozone is measured. And then the next color down is 175 to 200. That's that blue. Then the darker blue is 150 to 175 Dobson units. So the sun's coming up, so but the ozone hole is still huge, and it's getting bigger every day. I've been tracking it every day. So there's that. And here's the smoke for today. Here it is from Russia, and this is where we saw the methane pouring up. And then here's North America. Here's from the west coast, and then it's been gathering over the middle of the country. And here's the global view, and here's Africa. See, the smoke is coming across the Pacific, coming west, looks like. That's all of those. Next, before I get into sea ice, I want to go over Hurricane Larry. Now, okay, let's start on Zoom Earth. This was, here we are. This was for this morning, 4 a.m., 12th. And this is, Zoom Earth doesn't go up past the Arctic Circle. So, as far as the satellite view. So Larry was, see how it spread out? I've been tracking it. It was down here in the Atlantic. Then it went up parallel to this eastern seaboard. It went over Newfoundland. They got dumped on. See. And then it's spreading out, and here. Okay, this was the last they had for forecast, was 5 p.m. Yesterday was at 65 miles an hour. They're calling it an extratropical cyclone. And as it's moving north, or as it was moving north, was replacing warm water with and warm air with colder air. But it's up. I'll show you. Look at, here's Climate Reanalyzer. Here it is today, and here's the rain, and it's going up along this east coast of Greenland and dumping rain right on the coast. And see, Iceland is getting a lot of rain, and it's snowing on the interior. They're expecting up to 4 feet of snow in some places, and I don't know how much melting of the ice sheet the rain will cause, but I've got a little movie set up for you to see the progress. The green is rain, the blue is snow. The yellow, see the yellow, that's rain. Heavy rain. So, this is a 10-day model that I've set up on Climate Reanalyzer, starting with today and going out to the 22nd. So let's just run this, and this is not how things will actually happen, but it's a forecast. And see, it moves up and even rains at Svalbard, and then there's another system that moves up, raining on and snowing on this east coast, and then another system, and see, they just keep coming off of Canada. Once it gets set up, see, there's just one right after another, and then we're back to today. We've even, see, we got rain on this north coast of Alaska too. look at, see this rain? So this ice sheet, I expect to see some melting here. I don't know how much, but it's pretty low millibars. I think it was 967 when I saw it. So there's that. So we'll move that back. Actually, I'll get ready. We'll get ready for this next, or in a minute here. We can also track it on Zoom Earth. Here's where it is right now. And it's going to fizzle out up here between Greenland and Iceland. But this is 68 miles an hour at this tip, well, at the southern tip. On this east coast, that's 67. Here's 66. It goes down as it goes into the interior. That's 35. But I didn't mean to do that. You can see it go, the jet stream, or the wind is blowing up and across Greenland, and then circling back around over here in the Baffin Bay. So this is, I think this is going to be affecting the ice sheet. Not sure how exactly. I watched some meteorologists talk about this. Some saying the snow will help bring back some of the ice that melted. I just don't know. Because on Climate Reanalyzer, we've got, see, it's warmer than normal here on the interior. See the brown here. And also, look at the brown on this east side. So this is what it's doing right now. And on Earth Null School, you can move forward. This is up to 3 a.m. tomorrow, and see, it looks like it's forming more. See the eye there. That's 61 miles an hour, 67, 56, but the arms of it are really far out. And then by 11 o'clock on the 13th, and this is my time, so Pacific time, it's starting to slow down. Well, 58, 60. Now these speeds had been 64 up to 70, I think up to 70 miles an hour here. And then by 7 o'clock tomorrow night, see, it's growing a lot smaller, 46 miles an hour. And then 3 a.m. on the 14th, it's still hanging around. So the fact that it's going to hang around will continue to eat away at that ice shelf, whatever arms will get over there. we can see the temperatures too. Let's see. See, that's above freezing. 2.7, 36.8. Let's go to now 40 degrees Fahrenheit. $31.7, 37, 30, 30. So on the coastline, oh wow, there's 19 degrees, 24. So it might be cold enough that they don't have that much melt. We'll just have to see what happens, but I will be following this as well. So I'm going to close this out. Now I'm going to close that one out, and I'm going to close that one out. Let's go ahead and go through Climate Reanalyzer, and then we'll get on to sea ice. Here's 2-meter temperature anomaly for today. We've got colder air over the Arctic, but see all this warm. See the brown overall, this part of Russia. This is where we saw the methane moving out, that big wave of the red moving out from Russia up through the Sept Sea and across. So here's Larry, so this is warmer than normal. And then, see, we got all these browns across the US. Here's the flat view. Worldwide, we're up 0.3 C higher than normal. Northern Hemisphere is up 0.7 C. The Arctic is up 0.9 C. The tropics are up 0.3 C. Southern Hemisphere is down 0.2 C. The Antarctic is down 2.8 C. That's lower than normal. We saw this. That's a huge rain area. I can't see how Greenland will not be affected by that. And then here's the next one coming up. And we've got more storms coming up through the Gulf Coast. It's going to be hitting the coastline of Texas and Louisiana there. And here's the jet stream. See, it's right here. It's coming right up through here around Greenland. Totally broken. There's no rhyme or reason to this jet stream. Here's sea ice and snow cover. This is for today. We'll go through our slideshow too. This Beaufort Sea has collapsed this week. This is deceiving to see this ice here. I don't think there's really that much. Here's sea surface temperature anomaly as of yesterday. See, we've still got reds and browns here in the Kara Sea and down in the Barents Sea, here in the Sept Sea, and around, look, this Alaska, Canada coastline, in the tributaries, in Baffin Bay and so forth. Look at this whole North Atlantic. And this blue area, this is a scar left in the sea surface where Hurricane Larry came, and it was, the way I heard the meteorologist explain it, was it was so slow moving, and it was in the Atlantic for so long that it churned up the water and got colder water to the surface because it pulled up the surface water, which was warmer, and so this is colder water that got churned up in the wake. So he called it a scar. Where it's colder than normal. Worldwide, we're up 0.5 C higher than normal. Northern Hemisphere and North Pacific are up 0.8 C. The North Atlantic is up 1 C. The Equatorial Pacific is up 0.1 C. The Southern Hemisphere is up 0.2 C. That's higher than normal. Now, while we're on Greenland, here's the Greenland Ice Sheet as of yesterday from the National Snow and Ice Data Center. They're showing melting down in the southern end. This is this was right before Larry really started affecting everything. So we should be seeing in the next day or two this model reflect the storm that's there now. They're usually a day after. Here's the cumulative melt days for the whole year. And we can see just a little bit of area which is white where it hasn't melted. That's on the interior. Here is the chart for melt extent, and this blue dotted line is average. Now see the gray, they have seen melting this time of year, but normally it kind of flattens out. But we've got some little bumps here coming up. There's that. So we're done looking at Greenland. I'm going to close that out. Now I'm going to close out Climate Reanalyzer too. We'll go to National Snow and Ice Data Center next. It's right here. This is the Arctic. This is the sea ice concentration with all the blues. That's where it's less concentrated and coming apart. You can see where the Beaufort Sea is collapsed, and we just have a little fringe of ice coming up along here up into the Chukchi Sea. We've still got blues around Greenland here too. Here's this sea ice extent. This is, now extent is different than concentration. Extent is just however far out they can measure the ice, where it falls, where it is. The blue line is this year. It's still going down. And this dotted line is 2012. This was the lowest extent on record. And we had been running parallel or a little below 2012, but back in August it started slowing down, but it's still declining, and this is the average. So next week, the 15th falls on Wednesday. So next week on Sunday will be the 19th. So we'll see if the experts have decided we've reached minimum at that point or not. we're not going to have a blue ocean event this year. It's just not going to happen. Now here's the Antarctic. Uh-oh. Here we go. Here's the Antarctic. Its concentration. See, it's not very thick. Now this blue line is this year. We had it had been higher than normal, but it took a nosedive this week. Looks like it had a decrease, and now it's running parallel with last year. So even though it was higher at the beginning of their season, you know, freezing, then this year it's dropped off, and it's right where it was last year. So there's that. Now we'll go through my pictures. So here's sea ice and snow cover for today. We can see this eastern edge has fallen away. We're clear. Svalbard. We're clear at Franz Josef Land. It's still kind of breaking apart here, going up to Severny Zemlya. This edge is coming apart too, and then this whole big collapse in the Beaufort Sea. So let's see what happened this week. Here we were last Sunday in my show. Now you can see there was a lot more ice here in the Beaufort Sea at that point. So we'll just click through. Here's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, look at that, Friday, Saturday, and then today. So there's a big hole there. So we're done with that. Here's the Navy, U.S. Navy sea ice thickness model for the Arctic. The aqua is about 2 meters thick. This dark blue is about 1.25 meters thick. The solid purple is about 1 meter thick, and then it goes down from there. So here in quadrants 1 and 2, we've just got thin ice across. We've got here's what's left of this little aqua ice. It's broken away from Severny Zemlya. It had been up here for most of the season, but now it's migrated and broken away. Here in quadrant 3, above Greenland, we still have our hole here, and this is thickening up a little bit just north of Greenland. It's quite thin here in the Lincoln Sea. This ice had been flowing out through the nearest strait. And then here in quadrant 4, of course, we've got the big collapse of the Beaufort Sea. Wherever you see the whitish, that means there's a lot of open water. So it's just not good ice. And so what we've got as far as thicker ice and substantial, any kind of substantial ice that we'll have to start with for next year is right along here, right along this Canadian archipelago, and then this area. It looks like an exclamation point, but it's still coming apart and deteriorating. But I think that's what we've got. And see, these tributaries have melted out a lot. Here's the 30-day animation. The data goes back for 3 weeks. The forecast goes out a week from now to the 19th. So we'll zoom in and see what the model says. Okay, in the forecast period, we can see the edges coming out, so it looks like the extent is coming back. So we'll probably hit minimum right around the 15th, and then it looks like, see this edge. I'm watching mainly this. See, you can see the regrowth there. It's thin, but it's coming back. So here we are at the end of the model. I'll show you on the 19th. Here's Greenland. This hole above Greenland is closing up. And you can see this, see the white starting to move out. That's a little fringe of ice. So that's a little bit of regrowth. And then it's still really just not very good in the Beaufort Sea there. So let's click through. Here we are today, so I'll click through and you can see the change. Okay, already it's starting to move out. Losing my voice. See that? It's moving out. So there's that. Here's the Beaufort Sea sea ice thickness, and the whitish, that's open water. Here's Alaska. See how far away from the coastline the ice is, and here's Canada. We've got a hole there on that little island too. So here's the 30-day animation. So the forecast goes out a week from now. We're watching this edge retreat. Let's see. And let's watch this. See the hole. See, watch how this opens up. Also, up here. So there's that. Now we'll look at the Antarctic. Here it is for today. The thickest ice, look, is around here, around the Weddell Sea, and on this west side, and then a little bit around the coastlines. Got a little bit of red right down here on this elbow. mainly we've got aquas, and then we've got the purples. Now the ice around the Antarctic doesn't usually get very thick. Most of it melts away during their summertime, and then it refreezes in the wintertime. Here's the 30-day animation. And usually maximum extent is reached around the same time minimum extent is reached in the North Pole. So we'll see that this week too. So there's that. That's all of those. Now, here we are on NASA Worldview. I'm going to turn off the clouds. This is the sea ice. Here's Greenland, Canada. Here's Alaska, and all of this is Russia over here. Here's Novaya Zemlya, Svalbard, Franz Josef Land, and Severnaya Zemlya. Here's New Siberian Islands. So the area that we saw the big methane coming up in the ocean was right through here in the Laptev Sea, and then moved across this East Siberia Sea and across East Siberia. See the hole here in the Beaufort Sea, and then all these colors. This shows different levels of concentration, so it's just not much. And when we look at the satellite view, you'll be shocked. Here's a hole opening up here. Here's the North Pole. So the most concentrated is right a little bit out from the coastline here and up, like right around there. And here's north of Greenland and these edges. So it's in a dynamic situation. So let's go back to last Sunday, and we'll see where we were. Here we were last Sunday, the 5th. Alright, here we go. Now, here's 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and then today. Now, what we saw in Climate Reanalyzer was rain coming up to this eastern edge, so we may still see more melting up here just west of Svalbard. Now we'll turn on the clouds, and we'll turn off that layer. And here's the hole where we can't see because the sun is, the earth is starting to tilt away from the sun. Now, here we can, here's where Larry is, right up in here. See the big arm and around. Now, yesterday it was just coming up. Here was the eye down here, so it was just starting these arms, We're just starting to come in onto Larry, and then it's already way up here and here. But Iceland's covered up. They're getting rain. So let's zoom in and see. So here we are at Greenland. We've got a lot of cloud cover, so it's hard to see. Now this hole showed up, I think, about 8 or 9 days early this year. I don't know if that's significant. If we look back to last year, see, there was no hole on the 12th. What about the year before? No, see? No hole. What's happened? Why is there a hole this year? The black hole. See all those years? And here we are. I'm wondering if it's because the Earth is wobbling, or the tilt has changed. I don't know. Now last year it showed up. Look, on the 14th. Well, yeah, it showed up on the 14th last year. But we've been seeing this hole, how long have we been? A couple of weeks now. See? It's huge. So if anybody has any ideas about that, please leave them in the description box below. So here's Svalbard. Here's this eastern ice edge. Here's cloud here. Here's Franz Josef Land. And here's Severny Zemlya. We've got a lot of smoke coming up. These are fires. See the fires? And see the smoke coming up. Here's the Laptev Sea. Here's New Siberian Islands. And here's another system. Here's Bering Strait. Now here's Alaska. Look at, see this Beaufort Sea? Look at this. See the little stringy things? That's ice. We're looking through clouds here. But the white, the solid white, that's ice. And even the little stringy parts, that's ice. See? This is what I'm saying. This is... They're counting all of that as extent. It's practically not there. Look at that. And then, here's a good view. Here's the archipelago of Canada. Here's the hole here. And then this island. What's this? Isle du Prince Patrick. Wow, look at all those lines. So here's this hole opening up. Here's the coastline. Now, with the sun at an angle, it's a little bit easier to see the sea ice because it's not as bright of a reflection. So look at these leads opening up. This is where that thicker ice is. See? But it's coming apart. See all the leads? See? So here's Ellesmere, here's Greenland, and let's see, there's the Beaufort Sea. There's a fringe of ice coming up here. Let's look at this side. Let's see. Here's this eastern edge. Oh, I meant to present an article today. It was, what was it, a cruise vessel, hybrid cruise vessel went to the North Pole. First one. Anyway. Look, see, lots of open water there. That's Greenland. Let's go back. Here's yesterday. Let's see. And we're having to look through a little bit of cloud, but you can really see the sea ice here. So here's the Beaufort Sea. Look at that. That's just pathetic looking. They're calling this ice extent. I think that's misleading. Look, all the way across. So what we saw that was kind of purplish on the Navy model was this, what you're seeing here. Look at all this open water. And then here's the ice. Here's a good view of the nearest strait yesterday. See? Here's ice. This is the Lincoln Sea. Here's Greenland. I wanted to show, here's the Vogelov ice cap. Remember, we were seeing the ice pouring into the ocean. It still is. You can see it here. And I think it's kind of adding a tiny bit to the sea ice. There's that. So much melting. See, here's the Laptev Sea. Look at all the smoke. That's open. And this black thing, it's just a weird shape this year. Look at that. When did we first get it? On the 5th. That was last Sunday. So there's that. Let's peek at the Antarctic while we're here. Now here's the weird thing. where you can't see because of the sun. So here's our western peninsula. Look at all the clouds. It's very cloudy. Yeah. Pine Island Glacier is covered up. I wanted to show. Here's yesterday. Here's Pine Island Glacier. And we've got clouds here. Look at all this open water. Look at this. It never refroze all the way back up here. And this is the Thwaites Glacier. This is that tongue that broke off. And see, this ice is already coming way apart. Here's a lot of open water here. This is what we were seeing on the models. Look at that. So a lot of this never refroze. Let's go back to today. Let's see. Here's the Totten Glacier. You can see that. We've got clouds. Let's see. Oh, look. Here. Here's Ross Island. Right here is Mount Erebus, the volcano. Right up here is McMurdo Station. Now, here's Greenland Ice Sheet. See, open water. Look at all this. It never froze right up to there. Look, see, open water there. But we've got ice further out, so it's warmer up there around the coastline, it looks like. See, open there. Okay, let's see. Here's the Brunt Ice Sheet. Now this is interesting. See this piece here? I think that's... Yeah, this is what broke off in this little elbow. Right at the beginning of their winter. Remember that? Right before it went dark, there was a piece that broke off. Well, it's traveled around and rotated, and this is it right here. And along this ice shelf, right along up here, is where we've been seeing methane coming up. Now there's that piece. See, here's a better view of it. Let's see. I think that's all we can see right now. You can see the ice. See, there's the edge here. And then it comes in closer and around. Here's ice. So there's that. Now, let's move on to earthquakes. took these pictures this afternoon. 256 today worldwide. We had an Arctic earthquake right up in that fire zone and where the methane is being released. See, right next to the Laptev Sea there. Sea, Russia. Here in the lower 48 we had 143 today. Southern California had 25. Searles Valley Ridgecrest had 17. The largest was a 2.3. From western Nevada over to Mammoth Lakes and Colville, there are 52 today. The largest was a 3.7 at Mena, Nevada. We have 4 along the San Andreas fault line today. The geysers had 20 today. Northern California had 2, a 2.5 at Petrolia and a 2.2 at Palo Cedro. This is just east of Redding and just south of Lake Shasta. Look at all this movement in this Cascadia area in Washington and Oregon. So we've got 9 in this picture. We've got 1 in Idaho, 3.2 at Stanley, Idaho, and the rest are along this Cascadia line in the Northwest Pacific. Texas is still rocking. We've got 8 here today. We've got a couple up by Snyder, Hermley, Texas. And the rest of them are down here in West Texas. 3.9 was the biggest at Toya. Oklahoma has 5 today. We've got 1 in the New Madrid area, New Madrid zone, 2.1 at Marston, Missouri. Puerto Rico is showing 5 today. We've got 1 off the coast of Mexico of 4.6 near La Esperanza, Mexico. South America is showing 4, all on that west side. The largest was a 4.7. And this is the first day in a month that we haven't seen something along this South Sandwich Islands. That all started a month ago. I was doing some archiving on my website, and the 7.5 and 8.1 started all this off. I think it was August the 12th. So exactly a month that this area had been rocking. But we've got a 4.8 at the South Shetland Islands, just on the tippy point of this western peninsula in the Antarctic. Hawaii had 37. Alaska had 51 today. We've got 6 in this picture. 5.3 Lata, Solomon Islands. 4.9 Periaman, Indonesia. 5.2 Hihifo, Tonga. 4.4 Caburan, Philippines. 4.6 Komodo, Indonesia, and 4.7 Tobelo, Indonesia. We've got 4 in this picture, 3 around Japan, and then 1 up here in this Oko Sea. 5.3 right here. They're calling it at Kurilsk, Russia, but right up here just north of Hokkaido. And then 4.5 Tsukumiura, Japan. 5.1 Izu Islands region down here, and a 4.4 Ishinomaki, Japan. And then here is the one in Russia. See, here's the Laptev Sea, here's Novaya Zemlya, here's the Kara Sea, here's Severnaya Zemlya, here's the fault line. So this is where we saw the methane moving out, that red wave moving out. This is a 4.3 near Tiksi, Russia. This came in today at 12:04 p.m. Pacific time. And we've got two in this picture, a 4.4 at Fakhar, Afghanistan, and a 3.1 at Varibobi, Greece. That's all of those. Here's a new one. Looking at the website. Germany. Now this is where we saw the methane earlier this week, just filling up black. Okay, 2.9 Ottersberg, Germany. This came in at 6:22 tonight, 5.3 kilometers deep. So we'll see more and more. Earthquakes in diverse places. Uh-oh, I spoke too soon. Look, we've got one. South Sandwich Islands, 5.1. That came in at 7:34. So that's my report for this week, and we'll finish up by continuing reading out of the Bible. I always like to bring it back to a spiritual perspective, because when we're talking about all these catastrophes and stuff and end times, we really need to look at spiritual stuff, and we need to get our spiritual houses in order and get ready to leave the planet and get ready. I believe, I'm a Christian, and I believe in God's kingdom and that Jesus is coming. So that's what I believe. You're welcome to believe whatever you want, but as we head into these darker and darker days, the only protection and guidance we're going to have is from God and Jesus. If you can repent and ask Him to come into your life and help you. And then be part of the heavenly kingdom. So we finished up James this week and got started in Peter, 1 Peter. Peter was one of the disciples. 1 Peter chapter 2. Wherefore, laying aside all malice and all guile, and hypocrisies and envies and all evil speakings, as newborn babes, desire the sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby. If so be ye have tasted that the Lord is gracious, to whom coming, as unto a living stone, disallowed indeed of men, but chosen of God and precious, ye also as lively stones are built up a spiritual house and holy priesthood, to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to God by Jesus Christ. Wherefore also it is contained in the Scripture, Behold, I lay in Sion a chief cornerstone, elect, precious, and he that believeth on him shall not be confounded. Unto you therefore which believe he is precious, but unto them which be disobedient, the stone which the builders disallowed, the same is made the head of the corner, and a stone of stumbling, and a rock of offense, even to them which stumble at the word, being disobedient, whereunto also they were appointed. But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, an holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should have shew forth the praises of him who hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light, which in time past were not a people, but are now the people of God, which had not obtained mercy, but now have obtained mercy. Dearly beloved, I beseech you as strangers and pilgrims, abstain from fleshly lusts, which war against the soul, having your conversation honest among the Gentiles, that whereas they speak against you as evildoers, they may be your good works, which they shall behold, glorify God in the day of visitation. Submit yourselves to every ordinance of man for the Lord's sake, whether it be to the king as supreme, or unto governors as unto them that are sent by him, for the punishment of evildoers, and for the praise of them that do well. For so is the will of God, that with well-doing ye may put to silence the ignorance of foolish men. As free, and not using your liberty for a cloak of maliciousness, but as the servants of God. Honor all men, love the brotherhood, fear God, honor the king. Servants, be subject to your masters with all fear, not only to the good and gentle, but also to the froward. For this is thankworthy, if a man for conscience toward God endure grief, suffering wrongly. For what glory is it, if, when ye be buffeted for your faults, ye shall take it patiently? But if, when ye do well and suffer for it, ye take it patiently. This is acceptable with God. For even hereunto were ye called, because Christ also suffered for us, leaving us an example, that ye should follow his steps, who did no sin, neither was guile found in his mouth, who, when he was reviled, reviled not again. When he suffered, he threatened not, but committed himself to that judgeth righteously, who his own self bare our sins in his own body on the tree, that we, being dead to sins, should live unto righteousness, by whose stripes ye were healed. For ye were as sheep going astray, but are now returned unto the shepherd and bishop of your souls. 1 Peter chapter 2. We need a shepherd. We need a shepherd. We need our Savior. Jesus, come. Please come. We need you. So I'm praying for all of you. If you haven't given your life to Jesus Christ, I recommend it. So I hope you have a good week. And until next time, I love you all. God bless you. Go in peace. And we'll talk to you soon. Good night.